Okay. Now this is a new phenomenon. It's a new kind of term that's been coined.
Okay.
Nepo baby. Right?
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now this wasn't around when I was growing up, thankfully, because I am one.
Yes.
But I take issue with it. I want to discuss it with you guys and see
Okay.
what you think.
Okay,
Now
yeah.
here's my take on it.
All right.
So it's obviously a derogatory term when they're like, oh, you're just a nepo baby. You have a father, a mother, a uncle, an aunt, whoever in the industry, in particular in this case. And that's the only reason why you got in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my case, my father was an editor, videotape editor, who did many shows in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And yes,
Won some Emmys.
won some Emmys, many nominations. And because I had that relationship, I got my first job as a production assistant at Disney.
Yep.
Okay, but after that, like once you're in, if I was a lousy production assistant or I didn't know what I was doing, they would not keep me hired because my dad was an editor. It gave me an opportunity.
Yep.
Now my point is, isn't that whether it's a relative like a dad or a mom, or and we can talk about how we met.
Sure.
Whether it's someone reaching out to you and building a relationship, a complete stranger, right? Basically, that led to you getting in the business. So that's it's networking.
Yeah, it's networking. Totally.
Derek, you knew Mike, right? And then he knew me, so you got in the industry. Like there's always some connection. You're always looking for an angle. How do I get in? It's very rare, at least to my knowledge, that someone just kind of lands here without any connections and finds a job. So I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about it, but I'm obviously biased because it's how I got my break. What do you think of it?
Well, I'll tell you, are you upset about the name? Does the name bother you?
No, the name
or the
doesn't bother me.
concept?
It's the concept. Like you can call me, like if it wasn't derogatory, oh, you're a nepo baby. Oh, that's amazing. That's great. But it's not that. It's always like a derogatory. Like Smile, the actress that was in Smile.
Okay.
Right. It's Kevin Bacon's daughter.
Right.
Okay, so what? Like, yes, more than likely, if she was not Kevin Bacon's daughter, she would not have been more than likely given the opportunity and be in a place where she could have gotten the role. But she still did a phenomenal job. And people who didn't know she was Kevin Bacon's daughter still liked the film and liked her. Are there other actresses that don't have the connections in the relationship that would have been as good or better? Absolutely. But that, to me, to put a negative light on you getting into a position because you have a relationship with somebody, I think it's an unfair way to position it. It's like, again, so my daughter, who's in film school right now, kind of hid the ball on me being in the industry. Now she's third generation nepo baby. I don't know, it's like nepo baby, squared or whatever it is. But because there's some shame to it almost, like, oh, well, your dad's a writer, or oh, your grandfather's in the business, or you've got it, you're a shoe-in, or you have a leg up, which is not untrue, but I don't know that's a negative thing, because I think you're always looking for a leg up. Like, so her friend might be a very talented actress or costumer that I would not have known otherwise. Now I see, and I give her an opportunity, or try and get her in front of somebody.
Sure, I agree, and I think some of the problem might just be that the term is only used in the Hollywood space, because outside of this industry, there are people that get their children jobs where they work.
Sure.
Usually,
that's true.
and it's usually very similar. It's like a summer internship and other things, and they don't call it nepotism or nepo baby. They don't have a term for it.
Yeah. It's
just, oh, you needed an internship. We have an opportunity here at work.
Sure.
You can do that. Now, some industries, though, and I think it doesn't work as well because parents always want more for their kids than they were. Where this is an industry where it's a prestige to be in it, and it's probably, if they can make it, they can make a good living. They're not toiling in a factory all day.
Right.
Whereas, like with my dad, there's no way he wanted to get me a job in the factory he worked at.
Right.
He wanted more for me. He wanted me to go to college. He wanted me to get an office job where you didn't have to sweat on the floor. You had air conditioning. But on that same token, I think he would have gladly gotten me a summer job there if I wanted it, in order to pay bills during college and do things like that.
Experience.
So but there wouldn't be a term for that. It wouldn't be negative. It would just be, oh, I'm glad your dad could get that. So I think it happens everywhere. It's just really a negative connotation with this industry, maybe because of some of the people, they shouldn't have maybe entered the industry and whatnot. I don't know. We're here to be frank, and I don't want to, well, is there anybody you guys can name? I don't know. I don't know that I could name
I'd
any.
have to think about it.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it.
We could be here forever thinking about it.
But you have a good point in the sense that there's the difference between it's positive when you're talking about a family business. Right?
Sure.
Like a restaurant, a bakery, or whatever it is. It's our family business. Like my grandfather was a shoemaker. And he learned that trade from his father, right? So it was kind of passed. Oh, you're in the family business. They don't call my grandfather a nepo-baby because he.
No, and it's a lot of people. It's expected, and both internally and outside the family, it's expected you're going to go into that business.
Sure.
So it is curious to me that in this industry,
it's negative.
It's a negative thing, and people don't expect, or they do expect it, but then they cast such a negative light on it.
And I think one of the reasons probably we're having trouble thinking of an example. Because I do think, yes, they may be given opportunities, but typically the audience speaks, right? So you may give someone who's related an opportunity if they're in front of the camera, and if the audience doesn't respond to that, they're not going to just continually give them work because it's a bottom dollar. It's a business.
Can we be friends?